So, pack member Rooster, y'all know him. That's me. Heal because you have a child who doesn't deserve the broken version of you. Man, I talked about this before, and and this one I'm going to try to go strong on this one because how many times have I spoke so far and told you like you need to understand the trauma and these mental health issues and all this shit you've been through that they can be passed down to your kids, right? You think your kid's not paying attention. You think your kid doesn't understand that, you suffer and battle with these mental health issues like anxiety and depression. You don't think your kid doesn't see you going through this on a daily basis. You don't think that, your kid doesn't sit back and watch you get used and abused and you going through girlfriend after girlfriend or boyfriend after boyfriend or, uh having all these sexual relationships with all these different people. You don't think you see all that? The kids don't see all that. If you yourself where your kids looking at you as one of the best people in their world and one of the strongest people in your world, that when they don't grow up and that it's not implanted in their head already that you can't understand why they can't get over their own anxiety and their depressions or get out of that abusive relationship because they were a product of their environment, right? You don't understand that if that they're looking at you and they're like, well, if my dad, couldn't get out of this addiction or out of this relationship or whatever it is they're going through, if they can't do it, then it's fucking impossible for me to do it because my mom and my dad are one of the strongest people I know. So you need to start understanding that you need to heal a lot of this. You need to evolve. You need to evaluate and evolve. Turn your trauma into triumph. You need to turn your story into glory. You need to break the bonds from the past that are holding you back to get to where you at in your future because this is breaking generational curses. This is breaking down a lot of shit that, if you work on yourself and you heal yourself through a lot of shit, then maybe your children can get the best version of you so they can have the best life. Everybody talks about that. Everybody says that. I want to give my kid, the life that I never got to have. And I want to give my kid, the best life that they can have, the best childhood. And, I want to do all of this for my kid but yet they don't want to work on themselves. But yet they don't want to heal from their past trauma. But yet they don't want to, heal and fix a lot of bad shit about them and their habits. Your kid's sitting there watching you gorge yourself on fucking candy and pop and fucking, bad food and all this shit. And you're obese and you're fucking sitting here basically almost a diabetic, fucking on the verge of death. But you don't want to work on none of that shit so your kid can fucking sit here and see you for the great and amazing person you are because you're still stuck in your trauma. You don't want to understand that, your kid's sitting there watching you go through in a mentally and physically abusive ass relationship that when they grow up, they're going to either be an abuser themselves, physically or mentally, or they're going to find a relationship that they are abused physically and mentally because they watched you go through it. Man or woman. This isn't, fucking something that, you could say, oh, well, well, women go through this. But no, men are mentally and physically abused too. But that child that watched you, then when they grow up and they get older and they're like, yeah, my parents went through this. So, this must be what love is. You know, my parent was an alcoholic and that's how they, and an addict. And that's how they, got through and coped with their shit. So that must be how you go through life. My dad's an alcoholic, so I'm an alcoholic. My mother was an addict, so I'm an addict. All these traumas and all this tragedy that you go through, if you don't heal them, then how do you expect to give the best version of yourself to your child? Because isn't that what they want? You say it all the fucking time. You say it all the motherfucking time where you sit here and say, I want to give my kid the best life that I never had, the best childhood. But yet you're not willing to work on your weight so you could survive longer than a couple years to watch your kid graduate, to watch your kid get a diploma, to watch your kid, fucking go off to college, to watch your kid go and start a life of their own and have kids of their own and get married and walk them down the aisle or whatever it is. You don't want to kick that habit. And yes, I will. I don't know if other people will agree with me on it, but sitting there and using food for comfort, that's just as addicting as drugs and everything else, because look what you're doing to your life. Because you choose to fucking not be healthy, and you choose not to sit here and exercise, and you choose to sit here and just drown yourself in fucking soda and sugar, and that's just as bad as a fucking addiction as the rest of them, right? Because you're just destroying yourself. You're just fucking your life up. And for the people who are going to sit here and say like, oh, well, that's not as bad. I ain't never sucked no dick for food, or I ain't never, gave my body away for fucking food, or, the withdrawals and this and that. That may not be as bad to you. Maybe they never had to fucking do that, right? But is their trauma different from your trauma? Is your shit that you're going through any different from what they're going through? You're both hurting your own life and the people around you. You're both fucking up your own life. You're both destroying your fucking body, because where one is overweight and can't get up and walk, or one, fucking might die in a few years because of their health issues because they're so overweight. Is that not fucking you both up the same way? You gave up, one of the comments, they gave up one bad habit for another. They gave up drugs for food. How? But yet you want to give your kid the best life. How can you give your kid the best life if you're not giving them the best version of you? Because if you don't heal, then your child only gets the broken version of you. They don't get to see you at the best life, the best time. Fucking everybody wants to say nowadays, and mostly women, I'm out here living my best life. Are you though? Are you living your best life just because you're out here fucking taking a selfie at a beach or at a club or fucking doing whatever you're doing? But yet, is that your best life? When your own kid sits there and sees you going through that abusive relationship, that toxic, the toxic ass friends that you're around, the toxic ass family members that you put up with and deal because they're family, they're blood. So you're just teaching your kid all these bad habits. That's your best life though, right? And you swear you want to give your kid the best life by doing all this. And you go out and take them on vacations and buy them fancy new fucking iPhones and the latest and greatest fucking technology that comes out, but you ain't doing nothing but giving them more addictions. You ain't doing nothing but, setting their mind on something else. But you want to give them the best life. Heal yourself. Heal, because you have a child who doesn't deserve the broken version of you. Pack member Rooster, you definitely deserve for all the contributions you do. You are so valued. You definitely deserve a good old wolf pack cow. Remember 3 very important things, since I can't just ever, fucking remember the first one. But make the rest of your life the best of your life. And then remember 2 things. You're stronger than what the fuck you think, and you're not alone. Peace.
You see, change is inevitable. So it's never too late to make a difference as an individual. Because we gotta do that to become better as a whole. All for one, and one for all.